Welcome everyone. We're going to start off by saying the pledge, so please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. My name is Jake Tarno, and on behalf of Marquette Catholic High School, I'd like to welcome everyone here today to honor our Veterans Day program. We'd like to dedicate this program to all of our veterans, both living and gone, who have selflessly served our country and during their lifetime. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the American service members who have so bravely answered the call to defend our freedom. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you and share our appreciation for their service and sacrifice. Although Veterans Day comes around once a year, veterans have our respect and thanks always. If you are a veteran or are active in the military now, would you please stand so we can recognize you? I'd like to now introduce Zoe Colossi.
Four days before my second birthday in 2004, my father left for training. Shortly after, my dad was deployed to Iraq. First, he traveled to Kuwait. Then he drove for 3 days to Mosul, Iraq. My dad was part of the Task Force EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, for Operation Iraqi Freedom Year 3. In his first 6 months, my dad disabled roadside bombs and confiscated weapons from terrorists. After 6 more months, where he and his troops trained their replacements, he was moved to Talafar. In Talafar, my dad helped to train the Iraqi National Guard, performed route clearance, and took part in the Battle of Talafar. He received 2 Valorous Unit Awards, and my father returned January of 2005. Before my dad left, he and my mom took me to Build-A-Bear. I picked out a bunny and named it Nah, because this was the only thing I could say at the time. My parents put a sound box inside it that played the song Let Me Call You Sweetheart. It wasn't until years later that I realized I had the bunny in case my dad didn't make it home. It was especially hard for my mom because life was so different between here and there. She had a 2-year-old. Sometimes my dad wouldn't be able to call for a long time, and even when he could, there was often a bad signal, so the calls would drop. She said it was even more difficult when my dad returned home because he had to readjust to domestic life. His turning point was when he became involved with being a youth minister. He had the chance to go to a retreat and talk to teens about his time in Iraq. Here, he went to confession with the bishop at the time. All of this made him feel like everything could be okay. A newspaper article from the time said Colossi said his 2-year-old daughter's inability to understand the situation is what will stick with him the most while he's gone. My dad said to the reporter, "It bothers me the most that she doesn't know where I will be and what I'll be doing. She won't know the ups and downs. I wish I could sit down and explain." Finally, over this past weekend, my dad and I had the chance to sit down and talk about everything the way he wished he could have 15 years ago. He ended the conversation by sharing this memory with me. He explained that every 25 years or so there is a blizzard in Iraq. Ironically, he made it just in time for an intense blizzard. He said he couldn't see 10 feet in front of himself. Through the snow, he was still able to make out an orange tree bearing vibrant fruit. My dad remembers thinking about how weird that was, and after telling me this lighthearted story, he then said nonchalantly, "I got blown up that day, and it scared me." Thank you.
All right, and now we have a plaque dedication. I had our student government make a plaque to honor all of our Marquette alumni and staff veterans. And although not every name is on this list, we hope to continue making this plaque to get every name on the list. And Sammer Hollaby is going to tell you a little about it.
Thank you for coming today and to all that have served. Student government wanted to think of a way to commemorate and recognize our Marquette family, both past and present, from their service. We dedicate this plaque to honor their service and hope others will do the same. This is Luke Trinks with the names.
Dennis Burke, Nora Dotson, Daniel Gallagher, Jim Gallus, Jordan Goodwin, Dr. Mike Komenzinski, Don Milzarek, Don Markricki, Yukari Payne, James H. Pizarek, James W. Pizarek, Peter Pizarek, John D. Rutzek, Bob Schaefer, Dick Schaefer, Tom Schaefer, William Wendt, Frank Wolford. Thank you to those who have served, and as Ms. Boyd said, we will be continuing adding names onto this plaque as more members of the Marquette alumni become veterans and are brought forward to us. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Will Crane, who's going to be talking about our Iraqi Freedom Plaque.
This plaque was created back in 2005. During that time, my uncle, Peter Pizarek, was stationed in Mosul, Iraq. My mother, Amy Crane, a teacher here at Marquette, and his sister, decided to put together multiple care packages, as well as letters of appreciation, thanking those who served. In Iraq, there were many shops around the base where Uncle Pete was stationed, and a specific shop that created personal items and mementos. When it was made, Uncle Pete wanted the plaque to be signed with his name and to say it was for Marquette Catholic High School. He wanted to do this because he wanted to thank this school for the appreciation they gave to those serving their country. So, in order to give a little something back, my Uncle Pete decided to create a small token, which is this plaque. My uncle never wanted this gift to be anything big. He just wanted to give something that everyone could see, even the students. Even something as small as a plaque can mean so much to so many people. Thank you. And now here is Mr. Martin to talk about the fundraiser.
All right, I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about our fundraiser this year. Since I started working at Marquette, I've been trying to find the best way to pay tribute to this group of Americans. We all know a vet. We all have some connection, no matter how distant, to someone who risked everything in service of this country. For me, it was my grandpa. He was on a B-17 bomber crew during the Second World War. I think about him a lot, and how lucky he was to make it through that war, and subsequently how lucky I am to even be here at all. I think even more about those who never came home, the hands I'd never get to shake. I wanted to give our small community a chance to thank them, and I admit I was terrified that my attempt to raise money might not meet my expectations. I chose this hat simply because baseball has always been a constant in my life, a luxury I was provided by those we honor today. I got to play a game that I was able to turn into an education and a career because of their sacrifice. I knew by selling hats I could guarantee at least 20 sales to the guys on the team. They know they can't play without them, and it's simple. Buy a hat or run till you throw up. It turns out fundraising is actually pretty simple. So I started tinkering with the logo, trying to come up with a patriotic baseball version that would inspire people to buy. I agonized over it for days on end, believing that my design is what would make this a success or a failure. When we passed 30 sales, I thought to myself, all right, it's a pretty sweet design. It must have rubbed off on some dads out there. When we passed 50, I thought, okay, it's officially bigger than the baseball team. When we passed 75 sales, I thought Brad's email marketing blast must have worked. When we passed 100 hats, I thought to myself, all right, I've clearly got a career in hat design. But once we passed 125 sales, I recognized the beauty of what was happening here. My fear of not selling enough and not getting the logo right or having them done, not having them done on time, all melted away as I sent in our final order for 155 hats. I realized then that the hats didn't matter. They never mattered. What mattered to this community was the cause. It's a cause that represents those hands I'll never get to shake. Folds of Honor is a perfect fit for the school community trying to give back. We preach every day about the value of education and about the opportunity it creates. I can think of no better way to honor their sacrifice than to educate their legacy. And here to tell us a little bit more about Folds of Honor, who braved the storm to get here, and we're very grateful for that, is a proud supporter of the organization, Ms. Dana Posley.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, Folds of Honor is an organization that provides scholarship for the dependents, whether they are spouses or children of disabled veterans or those that have been lost due to service. Those scholarships are towards college, and then they're also toward private education for the younger students as well. Folds of Honor has put, I would have to say, they've raised so far over $1 million in putting children of veterans to school. I am a recipient as well of Folds of Honor. I have 2 children that have graduated college due to Folds of Honor, and that was from Western Illinois University and Central College in Iowa. And my 3rd child is a freshman now at Fisk University. So Folds of Honor has helped us tremendously, not just for myself, but for my children and my family. It is a excellent organization who is ran by a God-fearing man by the name of Dan Roney, and his mission has always been to give support to those who he felt needed the extra support, but just wanted to show his appreciation toward his fellow soldiers and those family members that were left behind. Our Chicago chapter is a wonderful chapter, which everyone that's in the room, if you apply to Folds of Honor, you will fall under the Chicago chapter. It is an amazing group of individuals who really dedicate themselves to raising the money so that they can continue to offer scholarships not only to the Chicagoland area, but those scholarship goes to all of the different satellites of Folds of Honor. With Folds of Honor, we are elated that a school would be so willing to help provide another scholarship for another student to continue their education. So on behalf of Folds, we'd like to say thank you so very much for supporting us, and please apply for the scholarship if you are a senior, if your parents are trying to get your younger students here at Marquette as well too. Please apply. That's why they're here, and we love you, and we truly appreciate all the hard work that you've done, Mr. Casey. This hat is amazing. And from Folds Chicago branch, we say thank you very much.
All right, let's see where we're at here. Again, thank you, Dana. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And again, we're blessed with this weather this morning, so we're fortunate to have you. I want to thank you again on behalf of the baseball program, student government, who we have here, the athletic department, the administration, and really all of the Marquette community. We're proud to present you with a donation to Folds of Honor in the amount of $2,500. And so you have to also carry this around all day with you. Trying to. So yeah, that's all the federal place. This one. Great. Thanks. Yeah, one Ann?
Yep.
Yep.
Hello, my name is Ann Peterson, and I would specifically like to thank Folds of Honor and Dana for coming today, Principal Head, the Colignans for marketing, Larry Roeder from City Stitches for making the hats, Mr. Martin and Mrs. Boyd for organizing this, and the fellow students and teachers for taking their time out of their day to attend this. This year, we've decided to dedicate an area in our business lab to veterans. Our Wall of Heroes will be reserved in honor of those who have served and continue to serve. Each year, we hope to add to it in an effort to show our support for those in uniform, and we encourage any of you to contact us with the names of former Marquette graduates who served to be added to the plaque, as well as any ideas or suggestions for ways we can honor our military. Thanks again for coming. Have a great day.
All right, you are dismissed, but hold on. Before anybody leaves, please make sure you put the chairs back from where you got them. It was actually amazing because we were kind of worried that we wouldn't have enough people, and then we ended up overfilling the Scholl Center. So next year we'll be in the auditorium. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.